theater and the usher nods me in. They know me here. I descend down the staircase behind the movie screen that only select people know about. The door at the bottom opens and I walk in. The sound of movie spoilers fill the air. The barkeep has my drink ready and motions me to the back. The rest of the crew are here already. This is my type of place, and these are my type of people. Join me as we discuss the inner secrets of cinema. Have a seat in the spoiler room.
Yes, folks, here we are on our first ever live stream AMA for the Spoiler Room. I am your host, Mark the Movie Man, and tonight we have no one in the room yet, but I'm sure that will change over the course of the evening. So yeah, it's the 7th anniversary of the show, and so we're here tonight just to talk, just to jabber, be online to answer any questions anyone may have. So if you hop on, please just send on over your live question and we will be happy to answer it for you. Until then, I'm going to play a little music here. This one's called Ambiance, and it is from Mark Woldridge, who does all the music for the Spoiler Room. He has for years, matter of fact, all our projects. And in fact, he did the theme for the Spoiler Room that you just heard now. So we're going to play a little bit of ambiance as we wait for a few people to join in. And that song was Ambiance. It's from Mark Woldridge, who did the music, as I mentioned earlier, for the Spoiler Room. He has been a longtime friend, very talented musician, and he did the song that you hear at the beginning of our episode, as well as our first song, which I may actually play a little later, the full track of that. We used a clip of it for the first theme song that we did for the Spoiler Room. And we actually have someone in the chat tonight. It is the fantastic Angelique Bone, a talented individual in her own right. She's been on the Spoiler Room podcast many times, so we welcome Angelique to the chat room. And so we're just here looking to answer some questions. And we may just have another person joining the chat. Let's see. Dawn, are you there?
I am.
Oh, look at that. We have Dawn, ladies and gentlemen, the diva of the Spoiler Room, and one of the first. You were part of the very original crew of our very first episode, if I remember correctly.
What can I say? I'm an instigator.
You are an instigator, yes. For the long history of the Spoiler Room, actually, you have instigated many things, and maybe that's just also because I'm very susceptible to suggestions. So,
Could be.
How are you doing tonight?
I am doing well. I decided I could probably chat about a few things because maybe I've seen a couple movies.
Just a couple few, especially recently with the quarantine going on.
Oh, no. I've been working extra during this, so.
Oh, okay. I imagine you've been busy.
Yeah.
We do have a lovely guest in the chat. It's none other than Angelique. So she's decided to join in. She says,
"Hello, Angelique."
So yes, so she is very, very kind enough to join in on here tonight. So do you remember what our very first episode was of the Spoiler Room about?
I honestly don't.
I labeled it episode 0 because
yes, the remakes and reboots. I've got the page up, so
wow,
I can try to remember. I can't remember what I was on versus what I wasn't.
No, that's okay. I think you've got a pretty long standing record of possibly being on the most Spoiler Room episodes. I did not unfortunately get a tally full yet. Been meaning to, but when you have as many episodes as we do now, it's a little tough. So
it is. Really is.
Well, we record.
What did we talk about?
Well, it was just reboots and remakes in general. We had Ray on there as well. I think Glenn was on there, but it was recorded via Google Hangouts, which was not the best back then, especially back in the day when the internet's broadband was still figuring itself out just a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So yeah, I remember that. And Dawn, when we did that, did you think we'd be sitting here today?
7 years later? No.
I
didn't. I thought we were all just crazy.
So did I. I did not think we would be sitting here 7 years later. Just finished episode 274.
Wow.
That was this one this past week with Mr. Ian Simmons, and when we talked about North, which was interesting. That turned out better than I thought, because I thought for sure it was going to end up being a kind of a slam fest, and it didn't end up being a slam fest.
That's the one nice thing that's very consistent about the Spoiler Room, is that it is very, very, even when we pick topics that seem negative, we're all very, very positive about the films, even if we don't like them.
Yes.
As we talk about the remakes and reboots, which is a particularly tender subject for a lot of people. Unless, of course, you're talking about Blood Rain. Don't get me started.
Which one, Don?
All of them.
Oh, Blood Rain. Yes. What? It's like, no, let's please not go there. We were just talking about keeping things positive.
Very positive. They were made. There were movies that were made. I'm sure there is an audience for those movies. They can have them. I have no interest. That is about as positive as I can be.
Yes. Well, yeah. Uwe Boll, God bless him. He can make just about any property into something. Of course, he backed off once Germany made changes to their tax break program for shooting films. So, but
yeah,
but I think we needed more Uwe Boll films because I just I don't know how he could make what should have been a sensual scene be completely boring. I mean, that takes talent.
Yes. Especially with the actors he had.
Yes, especially with the actors he had. He made just about any type of scene whatsoever that should have been intimate a snoozer. So, but the only film of his I liked was Postal.
I never saw that one. He killed me for his films. I'm sorry. He just did.
Which was it? Blood Rain that did it?
Yes.
Yeah, that one just killed it for you. Did you even attempt the sequels?
Oh, I watched all of them.
Yeah.
I watched all of them. I really did. I gave it a fair shot. Even Blubberella I watched.
Oh man, Blubberella.
I gave the series a fair shot. I really, truly did. And he ruined me for it. I'm just looking through his thing to see if there's anything I actually do like. And
probably not really.
No, I'm not seeing anything. I mean, again, there is an audience for his work. There most certainly is. He has a fan base, and I'm glad he does. It's not me.
It is me if I have enough beverage to drink, maybe. By all means, anyone in the chat, which we have a total of Angelique, feel free to ask us any questions. She's a newer member. She's been on the show a few times. I don't know how many, but it's always a pleasure to have Angelique's perspective. And that's one of the things I've really enjoyed over the years is, one, I really appreciate everybody who wants to be on the show because it's just my little sliver of the internet. But I also appreciate the fact that we have a diverse group of personalities and perspectives. And there's always that surprise of who's going to actually enjoy what film.
Truly.
I think
you really don't know.
You don't. I think Scotty D is the one who's surprised me the most on films I thought he was going to enjoy, and they were films that he were like, and I'm like, wow, okay.
And then there are movies, yeah, exactly. He goes, yeah. You can't predict what his tastes are going to be.
You cannot. One thing can be said about Scotty D, aka Baby Spice, is he can definitely.
God.
He doesn't mind that nickname though. He likes it because he's a fan of Spice World. So, and we actually have another person. Well, go ahead.
That was an episode I regretted not being on.
Oh, the Spice World one.
Yeah, I could not make it that night.
Yeah, I would have been nice to have you on there as well. You were there with us in spirit. That was one that was funny thing. I remember that with the Spice World one. I put up the in our private group, I put up the poll of what films we should cover next, and one of them was Spice World, figuring I didn't think we'd get any votes, and suddenly everybody voted for Spice World.
Yeah, no kidding.
And I was like, oh, we're gonna do
Andrew was pretty excited about that one too.
Well, that was the power of suggestion that I am very susceptible to. Is Andrew mentioned it, and I'm like, okay, we'll just see the response, and holy crap. And so suddenly we have an episode discussing the inner workings of Spice World, which I don't think many out there cover. So we are also
There's
joined
a lot of movies like that.
A lot of movies, yes. Daniel Edenfield has joined us, the musician in his own right. He's joined us. He was on a fun episode for our Patreon where we talked about Atlantic Rim, the brave man that he was. We watched Atlantic Rim.
Which one was that?
Is that
the one? Who's in that one? That was that. Oh no, I'm thinking about a different one. That was one of the sci-fi movie?
Yeah, well, it's brought to you by
right?
Yeah, it was brought to you by the Joyous wonderful production of the Asylum.
So, yeah, that one.
Yes, it was that one.
I think I actually saw that one.
Yeah. we watched the sequel. That's how much of a that's how much of Glutton for Punishment we are.
Man.
Yes. Well,
brave man.
I agree, Daniel. It got snubbed for an Oscar, especially special effects. Should have been special effects. So speaking of, we're going to take just a short little musical interlude. Since he is here, I am going to play a track from Mr. Daniel. It is titled Atlantic Rim Job. He was inspired. He was inspired by the episode and the movie. Very talented individual. So let me see if I can do this right without screwing it up. Hold on one moment. First time we're doing it like this. So. And yes, that was Atlantic Rim Job, as Daniel titled it. Trailer music for Atlantic Rim. At least that's what he intended it for. So, yeah, I like that track quite a bit. So, a little musical interlude too for you. So, and your mic is live again, by the way, Dawn. Sorry, I should have told you that ahead of time.
I noticed.
Okay.
I noticed when the little icon popped
little
up.
icon pop up. Okay, this is the first time I'm doing this, so you have to excuse me. But hey, I now can live feed music into it, so this is going to make things kind of interesting. So,
oh, very exciting! You like music?
I do. I love music. I especially love scores, but just music in general. Yes, except country. If it's older country, but that's because I grew up on it with my mom. She listened to it.
I think most of us did.
Yeah.
I really do. I think most of us did.
But, you know. So the show, yes. I tell you.
So do you ever miss the early days when we did, instead of, I mean, it makes more sense to do one movie at a time because we can talk more in depth about it and keep things much more on task. But do you ever miss the big discussions about multiple movies? Like when everybody would bring a movie, so we'd all talk about it, and it would take 2-3 hours.
Yeah, I kind of do, but I know that was sometimes tedious for the guests. I think the big wake up call for me for those was the when we did the 100th episode or whatever, we had like 6-7 people on, and we all picked our film from like I forgot, like 100 years ago or something. I forgot.
50 we did. Yeah.
50. Yeah, that's right. So that one went a little long. That was still fun. It was great to see people's picks, but I know that went a little long for folks. So yeah, it was one of those where the multiple movie ones work a bit. Like when we did the homage versus ripoff episode, I kind of like the topic ones where we did touch on many movies, but we didn't talk about all of them. But we did, funny you mentioned that, because that's the first episode that hit iTunes, was our Dance Magic Dance episode, where we talked dark children's films from the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that one?
Well, I do.
You remember which ones we talked about?
No. Well, I know we talked about the Dark Crystal and Labyrinth. Clearly, the Labyrinth because of the title. But I don't know are those the only ones we talked about?
No, we did talk about one more. We talked about The Never-Ending Story.
Oh yeah, The Never-Ending Story. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Now I remember talking about the scene where the horse dies.
Well, yeah, Artex.
That was yeah.
Yeah, if you don't cry during that scene or feel at least emotionally moved, you need to seek therapy, just because that is such a heartbreaking scene.
It really was.
What did I saw? I saw a planter. Yeah, it is. Why do we do that? We refer to films as was, and they're still there.
Well, partly because then they went ahead and did the sequels, and
yes,
you can't. It's hard to think about. The Never-Ending Story, the first one, is a fantastic movie on its own. Unfortunately, the one sequel does follow the rest of the book, Chapter 2, and Chapter 2 is just as bad as the movie. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, because you're one of those folks that actually like reads words and stuff.
Yes, yes, I do tend to read.
Mad respect for you for reading. I can't. I try. But and Daniel agrees that Artek's dying was soul crushing.
Oh God, was it ever?
Very, very soul crushing. Yeah, the swamp of sadness, and then you could you compare that to the was it the stinky swamp in Labyrinth with all the fart.
Okay, that was awesome in its own way.
That was awesome because farts are cool.
Yes.
Well, for kids,
God.
Oh, come on. Everybody laughs with farts. Let's
That's true. That's true. But where Neverending Story was definitely more emotionally evocative, you can't say the same thing about Labyrinth.
Labyrinth is emotionally moving in different ways.
It's very different ways.
Rather disturbing, if I remember. That came up in the episode when we talked about the fact that she was like supposed to be 17 or 16 and he was codpiece. So
yes he was.
I don't know if
David Bowie.
Oh, David Bowie, God bless him. Well, we do a David Bowie film later on too, though. Then we did The Man Who Fell to Earth then later on when we did the 40th anniversary specials. That was cool. I never actually had watched that one fully through before. I don't remember, and so that was definitely a David Bowie film. An unusual man, I think.
He did a lot of odd films. He just did.
He's a very talented individual, but definitely a lot of odd films out there. Grapes, what else was he in?
My favorite role that he was in was when he played Andy Warhol in Basquiat. That's my personal favorite of his roles. And I love Labyrinth, but still. Sorry, reading the comments.
No, that's okay. That's right. He was Tesla in The Prestige.
Yeah, he was.
That was a fun movie. I remember that because there was The Prestige, and then the other one, which both magician ones, which are like Hollywood, trying to jump on that hot trend. Oh my God, I can't believe it escaped me now. The other magician film that came out around that same time, The Illusionists. I think that's what it was called. I may be wrong. Yes, I was. Hey, Daniel says The Illusionist. Hey, woohoo! I might know something. Maybe. Well, that's what I also appreciate about our show is all my crew members know so much more than I do. I am just the guy there. So did you have a favorite episode or one of the ones either you were on or that you actually happened to listen to or moment or somewhat in our
I don't know.
history?
There's been so much fun. I mean, there's been so much fun all throughout. I don't know if I can pick out a favorite. I don't even know that I can pick out a favorite moment because there's so many fun times. I mean, I loved, and I know people did not care for the movie, but I love talking about Terminator Genesis.
Yes.
I loved talking about that one.
And we're going to be talking about a film that many people don't like, and I'm hoping everybody on the show enjoys. I think they do. The one coming up next week for Hudson Hawk.
Yes. I'm looking forward to that one.
See, you're just such an instigator, Dawn.
I've been I've been trying to get that one on for a while.
You've been, I think, pretty much since we started doing the show, you were like, oh, we're gonna talk about Hudson Hawk at some point, right? We're gonna talk about.
Yep.
Okay, Dawn, we're gonna talk about Hudson Hawk.
Yep. There's a couple of them that I'm still
I know.
trying to instigate.
Hey, we did the Kevin Bacon's, so
Mhm.
which of course I took to a like the nth level, but
Yeah. Yeah.
Dawn, just for the record, everyone, Dawn only suggested that we do a Kevin Bacon film every month. I was the masochist that came up with the degrees and working it out, and worked it out in a way to get Hudson Hawk on the lineup. So
There's a bunch of good ones on the lineup though. I was pretty excited about I really want to talk about the Arab there as well. And Quicksilver.
we talked about Quicksilver already, though.
Yep.
So
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did. So that was fun. Interesting perspective going back to some of these old ones.
Yep. These movies are from a different time, and a time unlike from when we're talking about movies from the 50s or even the 70s. We remember how the 80s were, so having to go back and reflect on that makes a bit of difference.
It does, especially looking at the films through 19 or 2020 eyes. We had that last week when I discussed with Ian North, and it was the first time watch through for both of us, and he and I both agree that it's like a very rare time where we actually kind of have to disagree with Mr. Ebert. So we think it's rough around the edges, but yeah, that was a fun discussion. I was very surprised by that film.
Yep.
See, look there, Daniel had to mention it, and now the bug's in my ear. He suggested a year-long deep dive into canon films. That could get interesting. What's wrong, Don?
I hate to see where you're going to take that one. It'll be somewhere. Somewhere that Mark would go.
It may be somewhere Mark will go. Maybe we don't do a whole year long, but maybe we do like an 8 weeks of canon like we did with Alfred Hitchcock, which that was a lot of fun doing that one, doing 8 straight weeks of Hitchcock.
Well, I suppose it shouldn't be that bad to pull out the ones that we've already talked about.
Oh, for canon?
Like yeah.
I know we've talked about a few, so yeah, and that's always the tough part, is keeping track, especially after this long, of what we've done so far for films. Make sure we don't duplicate ourselves. But yeah, you suggested Hudson Hawk. You dropped the bug in my ear when we did 50s monster films. You had suggested that we do 50 monsters films, and that's where it came from, the 50s. So we did.
It made sense at the time. We're getting ready to watch the fireworks.
Yeah, no, it did, and then of course Kevin Bacon. So yeah, you just drop a movie or whatever in my ear, and I end up doing it. So, namely, it came from the 50s because we could do the Killer Shrews.
Yes, I love that movie. I still want to talk about Return of the Killer Shrews.
Return of the Killer Shrews. Oh yeah, the indie sequel.
Yes. The direct sequel.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is interesting. Not like the movie Plan 9, which I did enjoy, but that was more of a takes place, I think, similar time or whatnot. Daniel, you are now being the instigator, suggesting Death Wish 3, Missing in Action, American Ninja, Masters of the Universe, Cyborg. We did do Masters of the Universe.
Masters of the Universe. I have no problem talking about any of those movies.
I can't make any definite plans right now, Daniel, but that is a very good suggestion. I will do some deep diving and see if maybe not a full year of every episode, but maybe at least a 12 part, like monthly special, like we do with their others, like the 25th anniversary and the big 40. And I think that I could definitely do. But yeah, we did do Masters of the Universe. That was an interesting talk.
Yeah, you could find a solid dozen off of this list that would be worth talking about. Breakin' 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Well, I have here on the vinyl the Breakin' soundtrack.
Of course you do.
On the vinyl, I have Breakin' soundtrack, so I would play a track, but the YouTube copyright police would probably hit me up with that.
Probably.
Maybe. Their algorithm might remember the Breakin' soundtrack, so.
Yeah, he's kind of crazy that way with his vinyl.
I have yes, I have lots of vinyl. I've actually got my stack of Wisconsin vinyl. I'm bringing It's Vinylly Mine back for sure. I'm actually going to be recording it with this bit of quarantine that we're doing. I've got a number of them that I'm going to do, but I realized I got a number of Wisconsin vinyl on too. So,
yep.
Oh, what were you going to say?
Oh no, I was my brain went in a different direction, thinking about the well, I could go in two different directions, either talking about the musicals that we've talked about and which we kind of touched on with Dance Magic Dance, or talking about the episodes that sparked you to interview to do interviews with your little goddess there.
Everybody's still giving me shit about it. Oh my god, yes. Not only did the special series that we do the first year, which was the 25th anniversary one, spark us doing one every year, which I hadn't originally planned. It also sparked me actually getting up the gumption to dive in and do interviews. And so when we did the last Starfighter, I was like, okay, while just shot in the dark, I'm going to reach out and see if I can interview Catherine Mary Stewart. And then she said yes. And I was like, oh, crap. I've now got to interview Catherine Mary Stewart.
Yep.
I was kind of hoping for a no, just so I could say, well, see, there you go.
So, and then you did such a good job. You got to interview her again.
I did interview her later on again for our Night Flyers episode. That was a fun discussion, talking about with her about Night Flyers, and especially the wardrobe they picked out for her. That was kind of funny. And then that sparked other interviews. I actually got to talk to Fred Olin Ray, which I'm kicking myself for, because well, I'm sure all creative folks have that little voice in their head. And I was like, this interview is going to go too long. He's probably getting bored with me. And I think he was actually starting to warm up, and I ended up cutting it off. So I failed there, but, and then go ahead. Wait.
You go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, then interviewed Patrick Reed Johnson of the Spaced Invaders. Got to talk to him. And then we got the chance to talk to a director you had wanted to talk to.
Oh, yeah. Well, which one? Because we did Justin Timpain, and we did JG.
Yes, JG for the Death Race 2056, which was such a fun interview.
Oh, that was amazing.
He was so patient too, because Google Hangout was not cooperating for us. We had to start it like 3 times, and he was so patient. But that was such a great. He just dove all the dirt on that movie. That was so much fun. But yeah, and Justin Timpane, who I've interviewed twice now. But yeah, the Ninjas Versus series. Talking to him about that. That's near and dear to Dawn's heart.
Very much. I watch it every year at Halloween and sometimes in between.
No, I don't
The
blame
whole
you.
series.
You watched
It's
the whole
amazing.
series. Not
I
just
watched the whole series.
Wow.
Yep.
That's cool. That's impressive. Yeah, it's a cool series, especially a cool indie series. So yeah, and it's interesting where this show has led me down. I don't think I'd be doing those interviews if it wasn't for the Spoiler Room and my lovely crew who egg me on. So,
yes, we do. Yes, we do.
We do. Besides the Justin Timpane one and the Death Race 2056 one, were there any others that stood out for you?
Patty Mullen.
Oh yeah, that was one that was interesting too. Had to do did the Patty Mullen one with Frankenhooker. She was fun to talk to. Talking about her experiences at cons as well. Oh, and there you go. Angelique's also talking about Jean-Claude Van Damme tie-in if we do a canon special. Okay, all right. I'll say it now. If we do a canon special next year, one of the months, I'll make it a JCVD themed month to where it'll tie in with the special month. And,
awesome.
Well, you know what's happening here, Dawn, right? It's forming in my head. You've known me long.
I know.
You know where this.
I know.
It's gonna happen.
I hear the gears starting to go.
It's.
I mean, it's a little earlier than normal, but that just means you'll have it planned out earlier than normal.
I'll be way ahead of the game, which hardly ever happens. But
Yep. Well, this whole year is screwed up. Normally around this time we'd be elbow deep in trivia planning, where we'd be getting to know every single detail about the official trivia kickoff movie. We'd be planning, getting ready to do not just Hudson Hawk, but the post trivia spoiler room about whatever the trivia movie is going to be. Yeah. So now we're not doing that now. So it's appropriate to plan now because our October is going to be filled with all things trivia.
Man, our October is going to be filled.
It is.
New Horror Fest and trivia. That's going to be a while. All right. We're going to have the way it looks that it's going to be is we're going to have the New Horror Fest. We'll have trivia movie and then trivia.
Yep.
Holy man. That's going to be crazy. My
work has already been warned that I'm taking half the month off.
Yeah. Well, I'm holding on to a few of my days, paid time off days just for that. So we'll see what happens. But yes, you're hearing it here, folks. We are formulating a plan. This is what happens when we don't have trivia to focus on. I get suggestions, and this is how susceptible I am to my wonderful friends and crewmates who come on the show. We will probably do, tentatively planning, a canon special. I'll come up with a little kitschy name, and one of those months will be a JCVD tie-in themed month. So
it's been a long time since I've seen Cyborg.
Yeah, that was fun. We did it for Astro Radio Z, if I remember correctly.
I knew you did it for one of them.
Yeah,
I knew you did Cyborg and American Ninja for Astro Radio Z.
Yes, American Ninja. All four of them.
Hey, come on. It was better than the witchcraft movies.
Yes. Witchcraft. our wonderful friends over at Astro Radio Z, Mr. Derek Carey, very talented individual. Go check out his podcast as well. Great stuff there. And he's been on a few of our shows. And yeah, when we did the franchise episode of of witchcraft, wow, that is an endurance test, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, the show's evolved over the years, but I always feel that it needs to in order to keep things fresh for everyone. So, I used to do the theme months for a while, and occasionally I still do, just not as often. But, things got to change, keep things fresh. And I think we've already got a name for our special next year, Dawn.
This doesn't surprise me.
See, no, this doesn't surprise me either. So I will have to maybe put like some kind of subcredit on the posters or something suggested by Daniel and Angelique as we do 2021 special Cannon Fodder. I'll come up with a little logo. It's going to be called Cannon Fodder. There you go. There's going to be Jean-Claude.
See how easy it is to influence him.
Look at how influenced I am with this show. I'm just, yeah. Daniel doesn't want to be dragged into it.
Oh, boy.
Well, yeah, we'll drag you into it. Yeah, kicking and screaming into a Cannon Fodder. Yeah, sure. You'll be showing up with a 12-pack. So we know that, Daniel. So,
oh boy.
Yeah. So we're going to take just a little music break. This one is actually a new one from Mr. Mark Woldridge. It's from his Black Frog music, and it's called Poison. It's an instrumental. So let's see if I can do this right again. And yeah, we'll be back right after this little tune. Oh, wrong one. Look at me already. What a horrible DJ I am.
Oz would be yelling.
Oz would be yelling.
Come here. I want you to hear this. Right down there. Partly the way it is. Partly the way I imagine it. I'm here for the comfortable prosperous, even happy. Well, for the most part it is. Except for the poison, the rock, the horribly toxic aspect. Poison. 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 I'm so sick of it!
electric spring, and a brass monkey, and a flight of the bumblebee, and a fare-thee well, and a well-digger's butt in Montana, and a hole is where the heart is, and a homily, and an early to bed and an early to rise, and a Paul Richards almanac. Get up in the morning. Poison. 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 Poison.
And yeah, that's a new one there from Mark Woldridge. So very cool. He always has a diverse range of music he tries out, which is great. I think
I like the intros he does for the spoiler room episodes. I particularly loved the "It Came from the '50s" intro.
Oh, that was actually me.
No, oh, not that one. No, just the spoiler room intro. The overall
just the
spoiler room
intros. You mean just the
Yeah,
special
sorry.
intros? No, it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one took a little work to make it sound like a 50s radio station, but that was fun to make. Working that out and trying to, he helped me out quite a bit with making it sound oldie radio sound to make sure it didn't sound too hot and all of that fun stuff. So but yeah, that was definitely a fun intro to make. And then I got inspired by that and decided to make the special intros for Kevin Bacon, 52 Degrees. And yeah, we've had some very interesting things going on. Again, keeping things changed up, even for me, to keep things interesting, so you don't fall into just the old normal routine, which I'm sure some people do. But we may have another person joining us, and we do.
It's Andrew. I'm so happy.
Dude, what happened to your voice, Dawn?
She's
Wow. I'm very happy to hear you.
Oh, I'm always look at this. It's my favorite bunch.
Welcome to the Spoiler Room 7th Anniversary AMA. It is Mr. Gonzorific himself, the lovely Andrew Shearer. Hello, Andrew.
Hey, man, looks lovely to be lovely on Saturday night.
It's a good night.
It's a good night.
So what I miss?
Oh, not much. We're just yapping. And thanks to our two viewers, Daniel and Angelique, we've already planned out next year's series of specials. So
What, I don't get a say?
What you get a say? Sure, you can get a say.
Tell him what it is. He'll say what he thinks.
Okay. We're tentatively planning a special called Canon Fodder, in which case we're going to be covering a different Canon film every month.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And then one of the months is going to actually be Jean-Claude Van Damme month. So not only will we have a Canon episode with his movie in it, but we'll be covering three or four other Jean-Claude Van Damme films that month. So.
Oh man, I'm right away thinking of which one is sort of my favorite. Sudden Death. Remember in the hockey one?
Oh yeah, Sudden Death.
Oh man, or Maximum Risk. Linda Lamb. That was a good ass movie, Maximum Risk. I actually saw Double Team in the theater.
You saw Double Team
I
in the
just-
theater?
For real, yeah. Well, see, he was working with some Hong Kong directors at that time, and I want to say Double Team was Choi Hawk, maybe.
That sounds right. I just watched that this last week.
Yeah, you remember because he's the one that brought John Woo on Hard Target, right? And that was before really, he was doing. That may have been his first English movie.
It might have been.
Yeah. Why did they call you Chance? Because my mama took one.
Yeah. So this is the power of suggestion. I'm just so influenced by my friends, I guess, because they have such good ideas.
Some peer pressure.
Peer pressure, yeah. Daniel had to leave us tonight, so I was glad that he could pop in for a little bit, though. Always great.
Yo, happy anniversary, man.
Oh, well, thank you, Andrew.
Yeah.
You've welcomely become a rather regular on the show. Yeah, and I'm very happy to have you as addition to the crew. We were just talking about possible favorite episodes or moments or whatnot. Did you have one at all?
Yes.
Either one that you're on, or
I have a favorite. Absolutely, I do. Well, my top favorite episode of all time is you and Don talking about The Fly.
Thank you.
That was like so great. I mean, and I know it was fairly recent or whatever. If we were going to do a deep dive, oh man, it's a toss up. I sounded really smart on one. I listened to it and I went, oh shit, how come I can't sound like that on my own thing? Because Mark asked the good questions, whereas I just look for an opportunity to make people laugh, which doesn't, it's okay for entertainment value, but the lasting value of information. Let me see. There was one, oh, I got it. Okay. So Kate Owens of the Cult Core series, she picked out like a really screwed up movie off of Netflix, and we were all going to talk about it, and then she couldn't be on the show. So it was me, you, and Paul going through this. I don't even remember where it was from. Mobius was the name of the movie.
Oh, Mobius. That actually was on a Film Jerks.
Right. Okay. So that wasn't on your show. All right.
No, it's okay. That was a really great episode, though, because that was a very interesting movie.
Yeah. What about the Three Ninjas one? Was that?
Oh,
Oh God.
Was that your show?
Yes, that was my show. That
All
was
right. My answer then, it's me and Paul. For ones that I am on, because The Fly, you and Don have to be my favorite of all of them. But like the favorite of that I was on, yeah, Three Ninjas.
Three Ninjas, yeah. An unusual film you probably wouldn't hear about on a podcast often, but we were doing The Third Time's a Charm, and I pulled that up, and yeah, Three Ninjas Knuckle Up. That was episode 150.
Yeah, I remember because I said that it should have been PG-13, and I said that if it's going to be PG-13, they might as well have a cuss word and a breast.
Yes, and the cuss word was going to be in the pizza shop, and that's what inspired my thumbnail for the episode.
Yeah.
Where's my fucking pizza?
Because in PG-13 you get one F-bomb.
That's right.
Yeah, that was a moment for me, I have to say. Again, no educational value, and if someone were to be writing, let's say, a thesis on the Three Ninjas and looking for podcasts to reference, wouldn't really get anything great off of me, who's supposedly some type of authority. I've spoken at college classes about film, and then I come on a podcast and do that.
It's beautiful, man. It was beautiful. What are you talking about?
No, I keep getting asked back. So anyway, so I'm supposed to also ask you anything?
You can, sure.
All
Well,
right.
at least spoiler room related, but yeah.
Well, I'm not gonna go into anything personal. you know.
My wife gave me a warning on that. She's like, make sure you put that parameter in because you talk. And I'm like, what? She's like, no, you talk. So I'm like, oh,
You do.
I do.
Yeah, nah, man. I wouldn't. You know, keep it pertinent or whatever. I don't think I know who your favorite Batman is.
Oh, my favorite Batman. Well, Dawn and I disagree.
I
on
have a
this.
guess.
We Dawn and I disagree on it, but for me to this day, and it will always be Michael Keaton.
Yep,
Okay.
I was right.
For
Because
me, Mike. Huh?
For you, Michael Keaton.
Dawn has a different choice.
Well, wait. Say why. You gotta support that, man.
Okay. All right. I'll support it. I like Michael Keaton quite a bit. Not only because he starred in the 1989 Tim Burton classic Batman, which became one of my all-time favorite films. I liked the way he did the personality and everything with it. His Bruce Wayne, I liked his Bruce Wayne a little bit better than what I'd seen in some of the comics, because I was actually reading the comics at the time. For a very short time, I collected them, and I don't know. It was personable. I really like Michael Keaton anyway. I enjoyed his Batman quite a bit. His performance. There's a separation between the two. I actually liked how he grew his character a little bit in Batman Returns, where occasionally you get just those slight moments where Bruce comes back out. I know his Bruce Wayne isn't a favorite of everyone's, but I would have to say for the live action films, definitely it is Michael Keaton as my favorite Batman. That's just he appealed to me the most. With the Nolan ones, they were fitting for the film that they were making, which is supposed to be a more realistic and bit more gritty Batman. But it was just something about Keaton's Batman that sparked it in my imagination, and he was mine, so I guess that's the best answer I can give. It just he connected with me. He was what I wanted out of my Batman.
Yeah, Beetlejuice. Gotcha.
a little bit. There might have been a little bit of influence because I enjoyed.
You remember how everybody was like, "What?" Because everybody thought of Keaton as a comedic actor at that time. So everybody was like, "Oh, what?" Like they still do now. Whenever anything changes, they fart their brain. All right, Don, hit it, man. Let me hear yours. Who's your favorite Batman?
Adam West. There is only one. He is a bright knight in a world of dark nights.
Yeah. Well, man, it's usually like the first one that is everybody like cements everybody's idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, it's like Doctor Who. Who's your first doctor? Well, yeah, that's what it is. Who's your doctor? It's your first doctor always.
Okay.
Usually. Tennant.
Usually, yeah.
Tennant kind of is tied with Tom Baker. Tom Baker was my first doctor because those were the ones they were showing on PBS, and my dad would watch them Sundays. They would play the series of 4 or 6 episodes or whatever back to back, and they were first showing the Tom Baker ones, if I remember correctly.
Yep. Tom Baker is not my top 2. Yeah.
Wow.
So, Mark, you think you could rank the Batmans 1 to 6?
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. It'd be, okay. Keaton and then West. Sorry, Don.
That's okay.
But he's right under there.
He's right under there. It'd be Keaton and West.
I like Keaton too.
Have a good night, Angelique. Thanks for stopping in.
So like Andrew killed it with his Batman shit.
He did not at
Sorry,
all.
this is Ask Mark Anything, AMA.
It is Ask Mark Anything. So, all right. So Keaton and West, and then I would, it's going to be a toss-up, but okay. From the Nolan films. Oh my God.
Christian Bale.
Bale. Thank you. So Keaton, West, Bale, Batfleck. I actually like Ben Affleck quite a bit. And then George Clooney, Val Kilmer.
All right. So that means your very last is my favorite Batman.
Oh, I'm sorry, Andrew.
And that doesn't surprise me either because of when we talked about that particular movie.
Yes.
Yeah, that's my favorite right there.
Yes. But that particular movie, yes, the Batman month we did where I found out that I don't dislike Batman and Robin as much as I dislike Batman Forever. But it wasn't for the Batman completely. Okay. My problem for me personally with Kilmer was that there wasn't a separation between his Wayne and his Batman. And actually Clooney kind of had the same problem, but I liked his portrayal of Wayne a little better than Kilmer. So, but over all of them, I will say though, bar none, I will take from Batman the animated series. God, I can't. Kevin Conroy.
Conroy, yeah.
I will take him any day of the week.
Okay. I didn't think to include the animated one.
No, I didn't think you did. I figured you meant the live action. That's why I went that route. But Kevin Conroy, actually, the Batman the animated series in general for me is like the bar for animated series.
Yes.
Wow.
It's like, for me, it was so good that I don't think I've enjoyed an animated series quite as much as I've enjoyed Batman the animated series.
How about Lego Batman? Who's that guy?
Oh, Lego Batman was.
I can see his face.
Yeah, he was funny. I mean, for Lego Batman, but that was like straight comedy. So I guess I didn't think of that. But yeah, Will Arnett. Yeah. He's good. He's good. I like the way Lego handled the Batman. And the Batman movie was fun for all the Easter eggs they put into it.
Do you have a favorite villain then?
Oh,
this
that
could
one's
include television or film.
That's a tough one. Favorite villain. I mean, sure, fallback default is Joker. But that's too easy of a pick. Favorite villain. I'm not sure. There's been so many. I do actually enjoy Poison Ivy.
I was gonna say, man, how great was Poison Ivy?
Poison Ivy. And see, that was the thing with Batman and Robin, as I mentioned in the episodes, is once I figured out and had some distance between me and it, at least it was trying to be more like the 60s show, straight up. And Uma Thurman, I thought, did very well as Poison Ivy.
Oh, man. How great was that giant flower when it opens up? That isn't any sort of symbolism whatsoever, is it? It was just like the brazenly, I just, well, no, I have you ever listened to Schumacher's commentaries on his Batman movies?
I have not yet, no.
Or watched any of the bonus features about the making ofs?
No, I think just because the series that I have, I just have the movies. I have like a 4 movie set, okay. And it doesn't have the commentaries on it.
Yeah, man. He honestly, what you realize is that he could have made Batman Year One and made it like the grittiest Batman anyone ever saw. Because it's the guy that made Falling Down in 8mm. Like he could have, but what he says they wanted was toy commercials.
And we've had that discussion many times on the Spoiler Room where we've talked about producer interference and what the films could have been had the studios kept their nose out of it. I had heard many backstories about especially the Batman ones, and why they didn't go with Burton's third film and why they changed things up on Schumacher. Because, yeah, he can do dark. That's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, no more Batman stuff. I exhausted that.
Are you kidding?
He muted himself and coughed. I saw.
Mark would happily talk about Batman for the whole next hour.
I asked him that because I knew he would enjoy getting Batman questions.
Oh yes.
But that's what I got
Most
for Batman.
definitely.
Yeah.
I definitely welcome Batman questions for sure.
Well, I want to know, did you already name your favorite spoiler room episode?
Did I?
Mark hasn't yet.
You saving that for the end? What's up?
Do I have a favorite? Oh my god. I guess this is Ask Me Anything.
Yeah, I thought that's what we were doing.
I love them all. No. You know, it's tough to pick. I'm horrible at picking good and bad ones. Don knows how I am with picking things. You are too. You know how I am.
Oh yeah.
I will say, actually, I think our Alfred Hitchcock one that we did on Rope.
Oh, that was a great one.
The Alfred Hitchcock one we did. I think it was Rope. Yeah.
Was it one continuous discussion with no edits, or did you hide the edits?
Almost. No, I mean, one of my favorites. I can't pick just one, but I really enjoyed the Rope discussion because giving us perspective on just, everyone thinks of just Hitchcock as Psycho and The Birds, and North by Northwest. But then there's Rope, which if you look at it, you go, holy crap, did that influence like every filmmaker to come after that?
Oh,
film?
definitely.
That 8 weeks of Hitchcock was fun for sure.
Yeah. Didn't what one did I do?
I think we were you were on Vertigo.
I don't remember. Anyway, I know I did one. Well, what was your favorite interview you've done then?
Don was just grilling me on interviews before.
Oh, okay. Well, if you already answered that,
no.
I
didn't.
I didn't ask what my favorite one.
She didn't ask what my favorite one was.
Oh.
No slight to any and all of my guests that I've had. I preface this. But I've it's a toss up. But
I gotta guess.
All right. Okay. They were all good, but I may have to pick the Catherine Mary Stewart one.
I knew it, G. I knew it.
But
I would have freaked out, man.
But they've all been good. I've all enjoyed it. I mean, we mentioned the JG one we did with the director of Death Race 2056. That was interesting. Patrick Reed Johnson. It was fun talking to him and seeing that he shared my opinion of the trailer that they did for Spaced Invaders. That was actually kind of fun. I was worried about bringing it up to him, and then I brought it up to him, and it opened up this whole thing about the marketing of the film, and it just ended up taking it in the direction I didn't expect. So
yeah, I mean, they could tell you to go off a record or whatever to cut something later. If they'd be like, "Man, look, I spilled too much tea. I don't think that's going to be good."
Yeah, I've never had an interviewee tell me that though. Hey, I said that. Could you cut it out? Especially when I did the Tony Walsh interview, and then the B.A. Lewandowski interview, where I got the full history of the movie The Rake and how the distribution and production company totally screwed them over.
Oh, well, I mean, that's got that doesn't really make the filmmaker look bad. It makes the distributor look bad. I think
Yeah.
the more of the artists talk about their experience with distributors, the more that's just going to help other ones, avoid those traps. I can definitely tell you the ones I know that where people did not like and had nothing good to say about. They're out there for sure. Well, do you have like a worst movie you ever reviewed?
Ooh.
Or something so bad you're like, I'm not going to review that movie? Or you're like, this is better left completely unmentioned?
Worst movie I ever reviewed. It was a review I wasn't quite happy with, but it's a review that was the most time I was going to give it to, and that was the Vacation movie that they came up with.
Yeah.
For some reason, that film really just struck a chord with me, and I couldn't. Nope. I think the only other one was when I was doing the Consequence films for the final cut, and I ended up having to watch Freddy Got Fingered.
You don't like that movie?
I do not enjoy that film at all.
Oh man, I actually love that movie, man.
See, and there's nothing wrong, no judgment, but let me tell you,
what did you do with that? What are you talking about? Consequence? Like,
well, on the final cut, what I used to do was do Oscar predictions.
Okay.
And then what I would do, rather than just if I got them wrong, oh well, I got them wrong. I got suggestions from people and other fellow reviewers of films they considered the worst ever. Okay. And then depending on how many I got wrong would determine how many of those bad films I would watch and actually review on my show.
I hear you. Okay. You know, the inside of the DVD of Freddy Got Fingered, all the bad reviews are printed inside.
Nice.
That's pretty great.
That's awesome. No slight at all. I'm glad people enjoy it. Just for me, it is just.
I wouldn't pluralize that. It's more like person enjoyed.
Oh,
Got Fingered. That's just me.
Oh no,
you know other people that like it?
Oh, you should check out the comments on my review for that film. Holy crap! Did I get shit for like a year, 2 years for ripping that film apart?
Well, I would never do that. I got class.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, I appreciate that.
I don't rip nobody on what they like because, we all like the same things. Do you see Trolls World Tour?
I did not yet. I want to, though.
Man, there's a I don't think this is a spoil. There's like a bunch of metalhead trolls.
Yeah, they're the bad guys.
Yeah, one of them says, one of them's like, well, if we all look alike and sound alike, how will we know who we are? And my wife and I were just like, oh, shit. Yeah. Oh, we had a good time with it, man. We really had a good time with it.
Yeah, it looked like a fun movie. I mean, I'm a big. Go ahead.
You like the first one?
You know what? I don't think I've seen the first one either.
Okay, well, I could say this though, man. It's one of those movies where you could tell it was designed to be on the big screen. You know, I just think the blockbuster stuff, the big stuff, I think they should just be pushing them back, because unless it's one they just don't have a lot of confidence in, like Disney's doing with a couple of these, like Artemis Fowl, you can tell
they wasted no time putting that on streaming.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's probably cool, but you know what I mean? But Trolls, that first one was such spectacle. I mean, I remember going to see it in 3D, and just the textures of the animation, like they look like felt and fuzzy. I mean, you can't see that on the TV, you just couldn't see to the degree that they design those things on a TV. And I saw that and Doctor Strange the same day in 3D. I felt like I'd just taken all type of LSD that day. I was like, oh, dude. But yeah, they make that joke about the metalheads. Their group. We all look alike. Oh, that was. It does some interest. It says some interesting things about music. You being a consumer of music will definitely, I think, enjoy some of the ideas they posit in the Trolls World Tour.
Well, I'm a sucker for Anna Kendrick, so
Yeah. Well, I know
you
what I
know.
wanted to ask you, man. Do you ever rent on-demand movies?
I do rent on demand movies, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I remember he rented. No, which was the one you rented and had me over for?
There was Piranha
Oh yeah, yeah.
three double D.
Double D. That's
Oh.
right.
That's what you and Sheldon and I and my wife actually sat down and watched this. And ever since then, Jill very rarely sits down and watches movies with.
That's
Oh,
right.
dude. Yeah, poor John Gallagher. Did he direct anything after that?
I don't think so. Not that, because that sequel just bombed horribly.
Yeah, poor John. He I remember at a convention one time, because he would come as his dad's handler, a lot of times. But when he got to be like, actually had some movies under his belt, all 3 Feast movies, and then that, he one time had his own table. He had no merch. He had no things to autograph. It was just John sitting at a table, and he had a rubber piranha prop from the movie sitting there.
No way.
Yeah, he looked so. And I was like, John Gallagher, I'm happy to meet you, man. But he's like, what'd you think of Piranha 3 Double D? And I'm sitting there going like, oh, that first Feast was pretty great, dude. Great, cool movie. What was it like with Henry Rollins making him wear those pink sweatpants? I just tried to change the subject.
Yeah, he only directed 3 films after the Feast trilogy. It was Piranha 3 Double D, and then it was Zombie Night, and then Children of the Corn Runaway, which
Oh, what year was that one?
2018.
Okay, so he's working.
And so he did that in 2018. I remember that one because I did a running commentary with Chase Lee, who's been on our show over the years. And we did it for We Live Entertainment when we were doing, for a short time, we were doing live watches and commentary. And that film was a rough one to watch. That was tough to watch. And I don't think it was the direction as much as just the script that they had for it was just, it was tough. I think it was that one. I don't know. There've been so many Children of the Corn films now oh no, you know what? It wasn't that one. I stand corrected. It was not that one. I think it was a Genesis, maybe. I forgot which one. It was one of the Children of the Corn films. They've made so many now that it's tough to keep track of.
We're gonna have to see Gallagher's, man. See if he's climbed back up there.
I don't remember seeing Zombie Night, but I remember seeing it on direct to video quite a bit. So but yeah, no, I rent direct to video films. I get the funny thing about it is I get a lot of actual screeners that end up going to Prime, so I end up watching a lot of those that end up on direct to video pretty much the next couple weeks after I get them. So
yeah, I was just wondering because not being able to go to the movies at present time, how you're consuming like new films, or if you're consuming new films that aren't screeners.
Haven't had a chance. Actually, I was discussing this the other day. I kind of took a break. If I don't watch it for the show, or if I don't get a review request, which I've got a few built up again, I had actually caught up. I've been kind of taking a break and doing other things, watching movies, watching movies. I've been playing video games. So
Video games are pretty therapeutic, man. I've been playing the free version of The Sims.
Oh, there you go.
Nice.
That's a fun one.
Yeah, it's oddly, you sit there and kind of just you lose yourself in it. I don't have a new game system, so I can't do that. All right, well, how about this, man? Grossest movie you've ever seen? Most disgusting.
Ooh, most disgusting film I've ever seen. Okay. Well, see, the go-to would be Serbian film, right? And that's pretty shocking. Though after I watched it through twice, I realized kind of what they were going for, and I'm like, yeah. Most disgusting film would have to be which one of the regurgitated films was it?
Oh man, I'm already feeling a little nauseous.
It was one I didn't actually watch for the show. I watched it for Derek. We watched it from the regurgitated series, and yeah, that one. I think that parallels. Was it August Underground?
Yeah.
Those two, I think, are probably the grossest films I had watched.
August Underground, if I remember, is just mostly actual vomit.
Yeah, so is Slaughter. Well, Slaughter Vomit Dolls. Was it? There's actually he made more than 3. It actually turned out to be 4 because I watched Black Mass of the. I watched Black Mass of the Nazi Sex Wizard with Derek for a show that was from the same director, had vomit and such in it.
I was thinking more of just like fake gore, fake poop, things like that.
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah, because August Underground had real apparently, and a fake. The problem is when I know it's like the fake in that, I don't consider it gross, though it's fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Feast 2.
Sorry.
Oh yeah,
Feast 2. I would say, okay, that wouldn't be the most gory. That's the most shocking, surprising scene in a horror film I'd seen in a
what
very
happened
long.
in that one? Was that the one where the train, the person comes out of the monster's butthole or something like that, or on a train track? My memory of these is fuzzy.
It's tough. Don might remember a little better than me, but I remember with Feast 2, he has a baby that he tosses.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
okay.
running away.
He's
Like
running
off of
away from the beasts. This guy, he goes down. He's going to save him. He's running away, and then he tosses this baby to the monsters.
Yeah, that was Feast 2.
That was Feast 2.
Okay, I thought I remembered that because aren't these like little people in it
Yep.
too?
Yep, there's little people.
Luchadors or whatever.
Yep.
Luchadors.
Yes, who are launched via catapult unsuccessfully. Yeah, that film is just crazy. But no, I mean I've seen a lot of gory stuff, but
yeah, I don't remember if Feast 2 had at the end with her coming out of his out of the beast's anus, or if that was in Feast 3.
But
I think
it did happen.
Yes,
it did happen. I just don't remember if it was in Feast 2 or Feast 3.
It was 3.
No, I didn't imagine.
It was
that.
3.
Yeah, it was 3 because 2 ended with her getting. You think she's gonna make it, and then she ends up getting grabbed and eaten, and then they end it, and then Feast 3 I think starts with that, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I know I saw them all, but I didn't remember. I think the grossest movie is Poltergeist.
Oh,
That's a good choice. That's a very disgusting film.
Yeah.
That one to me, and it may just be whatever your sensitivity is, but
that's a pretty disgusting film, and it's got a musical number though about tossing someone's salad. So I mean,
I don't remember that. All my trauma, I can't find it. I boxed up all my trauma at one point to make the shelf of children's movies that are my kids. I emptied my trauma and gave her the bottom shelf for her movies, and yeah, I can't find the box of trauma. I don't know where it is. I thought it was in my garage, but it's not, because I've been wanting to revisit Poultry Guy. Well, and Terror Firmer. That's actually my favorite trauma is Terror Firmer.
That's a lot of people. That's mine. I think Terror Firmer is mine.
Yeah, they just happened to hit a high point there with that one, I think.
He did hit a peak there. And there kind of was as well with Tromeo and Juliet. Usually those two are in conversation when people talk about their favorite trauma films, or actually like good trauma films, is those two. But yeah, so you just got all kinds of great questions, Andrew. You always do, though. So
well, I'm a journalist. I can keep going.
I know.
I don't want Dawn to feel like she hasn't been saying a whole lot. I don't want to feel like I'm eating all the air in the room.
Oh no, I'm enjoying myself.
Oh, okay.
She's enjoying
like
the
I'm Mark's
grilling.
friend. I already know all these answers, anyways. He ain't gonna say nothing. It's gonna blow my mind.
I'm a very easy read. I'm like,
okay. Well, did you when you were a kid, did you have a movie that scared the shit out of you?
Yeah, and it still makes me uncomfortable today. Dawn and I went to see it, The Shining.
Yes.
Really?
The Shining.
It was impressive to watch him squirm that much.
Yeah. I mean, how old were you when you saw it then that first time?
Oh, way too young. Maybe, was it 9 or 10? Maybe.
How would you see The Shining when you're 9 or 10? You just rented it or something?
Yeah, well, it was on Cape. My dad had all kind of. My parents were baby boomers, so all the baby boomers just let their kids watch whatever the hell they wanted. So yeah, I watched The Shining. We also watched. I remember my dad and I sitting down when I was like 12 or 13, watching Hellraiser. Was it? We were eating chicken and sitting down and watching Hellraiser. Yeah, 80, 89. So I was like 12, 13 years old. We watched Hellraiser. But yeah, The Shining. I was way too young when I saw The Shining. That scared the hell out of me. The kid saying red rum just does it for me. As Dawn said, she enjoyed watching me squirm when the kids started up with the whole red rum voice. That just oh yeah, man,
that's a surprise.
Yep, that I know. It's one that certain sections of that film just freak me out even today still.
Is it just the idea of the dad going crazy, or is it the idea of a child being terrorized by their father? I mean,
I think it's the child thing, and it's just that voice. The whole red rum voice sticks with me. It's one of those that just always, whenever I hear it, it like, ugh. The only other thing that kind of scared me when I was a kid, that doesn't now, but for a while it did, was Gollum from Bakshi's Lord of the Rings.
Oh man, hey, whoa, nice, yes. Oh yeah, things I should not have started asking it after dark. I'm now instantly regretting it now that you mentioned Gollum.
Yeah, that Gollum in that version, holy crap. I remember seeing it at the Oriental Theater with my dad, because we used to go there and he used to take me to movies. Again, seeing movies I probably shouldn't have. I saw Allegro Non Troppo there, the French, more mature version of Fantasia, which I actually have on Laserdisc. We saw Lord of the Rings, Bakshi there, which I have somewhere, the vinyl soundtrack to it. And Gollum scared the piss out of me. And then I'm going to say it, E.T.
Hey, yo, E.T.'s to me too, man. E.T. scared me too.
Oh, good. I don't feel so bad.
Yeah, because I mean, he's basically balls. Like balls living in your closet, talking to you.
And this is why I have so enjoyed having you on the show so many times, Andrew. You have the greatest comparisons and perspective. And I truly, from my heart, mean that.
Oh, thanks. That was just off the top of my head there. Again, no educational value. However, you may be looking at your ETs a little different. Or
I had a stuffed ET for the longest time, which didn't freak me out. But what freaked me out, it wasn't fully ET. There are two scenes in ET that I really handle watching as a kid. It was the three fingers around the edge when they're following the trail of Reese's Pieces and he's out, and he just puts the three fingers around the corner.
Yeah.
And then
that's scary.
It's actually a scary freaking scene, and then the other one was actually, I could not watch, was when he's all pale and sickly in the river.
God, I remember that as a kid, just not liking that at all.
That was very traumatic.
Yeah. Dawn, do you remember if E.T. began its life as a script for like a horror movie or a sci-fi horror? Because I know Gremlins originated as a horror.
I don't believe it originated as a horror.
Well,
especially not with Spielberg attached.
Okay. Maybe,
but I could be wrong.
Maybe it was gonna be, and then once he got involved, he changed it to family.
No, you are right. It was supposed to be a horror film.
Was it?
Let's hear the story, man.
Okay,
I didn't know if that was rumor or what.
Welcome to the wonderful world of interwebs and the show where we look things up on the interweb. But let's see here. Spielberg commissioned a script from fellow filmmaker John Sayles called Night Skies. It described a similar farm family scenario and featured aliens who could kill others simply by the touch of their long, bony finger. The script also included an alien character named Buddy, a kind and benevolent member of the pack who befriends an autistic child. But as Night Skies went into pre-production, Spielberg, who wanted to only produce rather than direct the film, had second thoughts about the dark concept and decided to go completely opposite direction, one that offered a more hopeful view of an extraterrestrial encounter.
Yes, this was supposed to be a semi-sequel to Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Mm-hmm.
Really? Oh, this is all blowing my mind.
He offered Sayles a chance to rewrite the original script, and he declined. And in '84, he made his own alien stranded on the film. In '84, Sayles, you're going to love this, Andrew. Prepare yourself. Sayles declined, and in '84, he made his own alien stranded on Earth movie called Brother from Another Planet.
Oh, I love Brother from Another Planet.
And Spielberg repurposed the family and terror concept in his script for Poltergeist, actually. So he took just elements from Night Skies to make get E.T., and instead repurposed the rest to the concept of family and terror for Poltergeist. So
that was Melissa Matheson.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I know she passed away not too long ago.
And that is from the Time magazine site. So
okay.
There's also some connection to M. Night Shyamalan's Signs, whose producers Kathleen Kennedy and Frank Marshalls are frequent Spielberg collaborators. Kathleen Kennedy also co-produced E.T.
Yeah.
So another connection to a darker sci-fi film.
Yeah, they're all related.
It's all connected, and E.T. But yeah, E.T. freaked me out. So here's a little sharing, probably more than I probably should, but I'm going to say this anyway. And it'll probably
Mark's idea.
It's probably going to pretty much give everybody a understanding now of me. Is when I was a kid in my bed one night, my parents, because I had a door that went to my bedroom that closed and it was open halfway. So my parents, after I watched the Bakshi Lord of the Rings, and this was after E.T. as well, They stood by the door one night, had the nightlight on, about to go to sleep, and yelled, "My precious."
Oh God.
And then to top it off, after they repeated it 3 times, they put 3 fingers around the edge of the door.
My first thought is, why at that time of night would any parent be that keen on having to change the sheets and bedding of their child?
Well, I felt good because I brought to bed with me, you know, those little toys where you squeeze the handle and it's got like the talking shark head or whatever from the zoo.
Yes.
Yeah, I had one of those. I took one to bed to me for protection. So when they started doing that, I was calling out asking if it was my mom, and I had my shark bite toy ready.
You should just tear those fingers up, man. It'd be their fault.
So yeah.
Was there anything as an adult get to you? Any movie as a, you know?
Well, like I said, Shining does get to me. Not too much scares me nowadays.
Too hardcore, nothing, nothing freaked out adult Mark, no movie.
nothing really has freaked me out over the years. Now for adult Mark that I can watch pretty much anything, but still though, Shining still makes me squirm. Dawn can attest to. So.
Yeah, so you didn't get jumpy during Dr. Sleep.
No, well, I got creeped out. It was creepy. It didn't scare me. I just enjoyed it. It was a solid film. I was immersed in it, so I didn't really get scared, but I fully was like immersed in that world. Like, yeah, you know, it had great atmosphere, and so a bit creepy. But I mean, outside of course, the jump scares, which I found that great meme a while back to where it said, you know, a horror film that relies completely on jump scares is like a stand-up comedian going around tickling everyone in the audience. So,
yes. And what are some examples of these movies?
The Gallows.
Yeah.
The Gallows had 13 jump scares, and that's it. Well, I shouldn't say that. There were 13 jump scares, and then in the last 5 minutes got interesting, and it ended. But it's bad. You know, there's a lot of jump scares when I can start counting them.
Well, you know, you remember this movie 1 Hour Photo Robin Williams was in?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so the guy that made that, after he did 1 Hour Photo, he wrote I cannot remember the guy's name, maybe Mark Romanek.
Mm-hmm.
Romanek, I don't know. He wrote a prequel to Shining, but it's apparently like so expensive that it never got made.
Oh, I had heard about stories about that. Yeah.
Yeah, but the script was totally finished. Like, I would love to read that.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting read, because it was supposed to be like about the hotel in that, right? Before?
Yeah, it was like the whole history of the Overlook. Yeah, like going back to before it was built, you know, the cursed ground or whatever.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting read for sure. Well, Dawn would probably read it. I'd wait for the film.
I would totally read
I don't read often, though. I did read all the Harry Potter books when the films were going to come out, and I read 2 of the 3 Hunger Games books before the films.
Do you have a favorite film franchise?
Favorite film franchise?
As in, like, you'd like all or almost all of the movies in the entire thing?
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a tough. Well, I do. Well, I only don't like pretty much 2 of the films in the Batman franchise, but
Why do you have Dawn laugh at that? She got a kick out of that.
So I mean, there's that. The Star Wars ones. I mean, that's an easy pick. I've grown up on Star Wars. But to be a challenging pick, I'm all right. Fast and Furious.
You like every Fast and Furious?
Actually, no, I don't like. I don't know if there's a franchise where I've liked every single film.
See, for me, it's Planet of the Apes. I like every
Ooh.
single Apes movie.
That's a good choice. Like the classic and the new ones.
Every single one, even the Tim Burton one, which nobody likes, I think as a production is just amazing. Like all those, it was the last time they did practical makeups and costumes and that score, you know, the whole thing just to me is, I don't mind the, Mark Wahlberg or the, the way they changed the end or whatever. That's most people's big problem. They don't like those two things, but I was fine with all of it.
Yeah,
Now,
Oh, go ahead, Don. Sorry.
now that's the only franchise that I've gone out when I've already had the VHS and the DVD and bought all the Blu-rays.
Yeah.
The only franchise.
Yeah. They got, man, all those bonus features about each of the old ones. So good. Did you see Making the Apes, that new documentary about the makeups of the original Ape series?
No, I haven't gotten that far.
That's good, man. It's good. That they could probably put out a whole new box set, just include that, make some more money off of it. All right. How about favorite remake? Like best remake?
Oh, best remake. All right. Best remake. The Crazies.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed The Crazies. I'm putting it out now. I don't consider the Godzilla film, the 2014 one. I don't consider that a remake. Okay.
It's not, I think it was not supposed to be, right? It's supposed to be canon somehow or other.
Yeah, it's all of them are kind of it. Though that I don't, because Godzilla, they bring him back every so often, so I don't really consider that a remake. But yeah, I would say The Crazies is probably my favorite remake of a film.
Yeah, were you a fan of the Romero's original?
I did enjoy it, though. It's probably not on my, really top of my top 3 for Romero. I just, because of a lot of it takes place in a room, and that there's a lot of cool stuff that happens and statements being made, but for me, The Crazies, I think, is what I want out of a remake, which is, if you're going to remake it, okay, you have the original story and concept, but expand on what was presented in the original or bring something new.
Yeah. I hear you. All right, what's the worst? What's the worst remake?
Ooh.
I know the answer to that one.
I can't answer that because you like it, Andrew.
It's not Vacation. I don't like Vacation.
No. Well, Vacation. But Vacation wasn't really considered a remake, though it was a requel. As
that's right, because they were in it. The Griswold was in it.
Right.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. Good. So it's really a sequel.
Man, I have so many movies I like, or movies that are not popular. So don't even worry about that. Anyway, I'm asking you. This ain't about me.
It's the Psycho shot for shot remake.
Yep.
Oh, I knew that. That's the worst.
That's, for me, the worst remake.
I still haven't seen it.
And the only reason that I think it's worse for me is because I just love the original so much that I have trouble. I really try. And Andrew, after I've talked to you about it, I've revisited the film again, and I have tried, but I just cannot really get into that film. For me, that's probably, for me, the worst remake I've watched.
It's probably a lot of people's worst. Oh, actually, probably a lot of people didn't even watch it. At least you watched it.
I've watched it like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, see, that's fine, man, dude. I can get out when people like refuse. They're like, I don't accept. Brain won't. I'm like, okay, I guess you don't like that story.
It's one of those. Yeah. For me, it's one of those where it's not like unwatchable. I just don't like a number of the choices they made at key points that I really, it's just one of those things where, for me, that one probably struck the most chord out of remakes. So, what What about you? Do you have one that's your least favorite remake?
Probably The Last House on the Left remake.
Hmm.
That's the one where they microwave the guy's head in an
Yeah.
open microwave. Which wouldn't microwave anything because it's open.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that movie was ass.
Well, that's one of those movies where you're like, why would you even try?
Well, Wes Craven was a producer on it, and that really, as much as he always, he's got he would always say that, disowned the ending of the original Nightmare on Elm Street because the producers put this nonsensical tag on the movie, and he would always say, "It wasn't me. I wasn't even there when they shot it." But then he remakes his Last House on the Left, and he puts this nonsensical ending. It's like, what did you do? No, there was I cannot remember what director it was, but someone actually put the animated storyboards of their pitch for Last House on the Left remake online at one point after the real version was made or whatever, like the final version was made. He's like, well, I guess I got nothing to lose by showing you what my pitch was to make it, and it was amazing. It was like a Larry Clark movie almost. It was really, I might have been Joe Lynch now that I think about it.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, oh dude, I would have loved that one instead. But yeah, that was because I usually tend to like them, but that was just like, what is this crap? The original ends with a chainsaw fight and you get a microwave here.
Yeah. Well,
Fart noise. All right, what's your favorite music score to a movie? Different than soundtrack.
Oh, original score favorite: Conan the Barbarian, 1982, Basil Pulderis.
Listen to that. He pops that one off quick. What is it about that Conan scored?
Because it's a film that and I apologize if people have listened to the show and heard me say this before about this score, but for me, yes, Star Wars, of course, John Williams, all those are wonderful scores, but for me, Conan is something special, not just because I watched it when it first came out when I was too young with my parents and we were in a theater and we were there were people passing joints in the theater and having a blast. It wasn't just because of that. The score is just one of those things where it adds so much to that movie. When you have the main character who maybe has a page of dialogue, maybe, you need to bring an emotion in something, and the music there, every piece is like its own standalone classical piece, but it fits so well in the movie that I could not picture that movie without it. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Conan, does not say, if you look at it, and now I'm not talking about the director's cut, which has the extra footage in it from the mounds scene. If you look at the original cut, the theatrical one, and it was on the DVD release, when Conan, from when he gets put on the tree of woe and bites the vulture and then passes out, from there till when he's about to do the final conflict at the Battle of the Mounds, there's 20-minute span where your lead character, his name's in the freaking title, does not say a line of dialogue. Yes, now you have the characters, the supporting characters, they say dialogue, sure. But when your main character for 20 minutes does not say a single line of dialogue, you need to fill that in with some kind of emotion that you're connected to, because you were with this guy for the first hour. You've watched his parents die. You've watched him go through hell and back and become Arnold. You need to fill it. And that music just fits so well with it. And that's why, sorry, you got me going.
Dude, no, I was going to say, I don't remember ever hearing you say that. So that's rad.
Oh, yeah.
That was awesome. Like, I get it. Do you have a favorite like soundtrack then, separate from that? Is
Ooh.
it Batman?
Prince's Batman. That's one of the top ones. I love that album.
Okay, well, is there a top one?
That one's a little bit tougher with the score, but
like various artists, or
well, there's musicals. There's a tie, I could say, for musicals. Is Moulin Rouge and Greatest Showman are actually for ones that come to mind are pretty much at my top for musical numbers, soundtracks. But as far as for like various artists, that's one's tough because a lot of them have a lot of great stuff. I listened to Pulp Fiction an awful lot when it came out.
Oh yeah, well that one's got isn't that the one with all the little in betweens with the DJ or whatever?
Oh no, you're
Reservoir Dogs.
That was Reservoir Dogs, which is also a great one. Tarantino, for whatever people hate on, he assembles some great soundtracks.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. It was Pulp Fiction had Al Green, right? Yeah,
it had Miserlou on it, which now I have a title. I apologize again for babbling here, but I have an interesting story with that song and that soundtrack for when I DJ'd for the student television here on campus. I had a show for a while where they let me play musicals, scores, whatever. It was movie soundtracks. It was the Movie Man's Movie Music Morning, or Manic Music Morning is what it was. So first hour I would play instrumentals, second hour I played vocal soundtracks, and then the third hour was kind of a mishmash of things. And so it was from 6 to 9 in the morning on a Saturday in a college town. I thought no one would listen to the show, so I didn't feel too bad for whatever I was playing because I figured, no one's listening. Turns out there were a lot of people listening.
Oh, cool.
Because I get a call from a guy who said, hey, could you play that one song? I'm not quite sure the name. It was in Pulp Fiction. It was like the fast guitar, man. And I'm like, yeah, Miserlou, I can play that at the top of the hour. Sure. He's like, okay, great. He's like, yeah, I'm a third shift janitor here at the paper mill, and I listen to your show all the time. I'm like, oh, great. Now I actually have an audience. Now I got to pay attention to what I say, I guess.
Yeah, no more Two Live Crew songs getting snuck in there.
Though I did do almost the whole album of Young Guns 2 before someone called and said, please no more Bon Jovi.
That was me. Hey, well, how about favorite director?
Ooh, favorite director. Recent or just overall?
It's your pick, man. It's your AMA. That's my question for you.
I know that's my question. God, this is what I get for having a journalist on the show.
Yeah.
That can be my last question. No,
I don't mind the questions. Ask Derek about how tough it is to ask me to pick tops. But favorite director, one that I have not been disappointed with. I mean, I guess my knee jerk, just immediate, would be Tim Burton. But he's actually, I can't pick just one because I like
you could get your top threes or whoever.
Well, if I had top three, it would be Hitchcock, it would be Tim Burton, and then even though he did Shining and I love Shining, can't say Kubrick, but I'd actually say Mike Flanagan.
Yeah. All right, man.
I'd say those three: Tim Burton, Hitchcock, and Mike Flanagan. Just because with Mike Flanagan, I have not seen a film of his yet. Now, I haven't seen Gerald's Game, and I didn't watch the series, but I haven't watched a film yet that I just thought, wow, that was a stinker.
Yeah. Why didn't you see Gerald's Game?
I just haven't sat down and watched it. The type of story in that for me, that's just one of those that's on my list to watch. I just haven't gotten around to watching it.
Tell you what, man, there's a hairy scene in Gerald's Game. It made me like I didn't want to look at it. It was,
Mike, because Mike Flanagan hasn't. Everything I've seen of Mike's, I've enjoyed.
I've seen the Ouija Origin of Evil. I think that's great. I've seen Oculus. Thought that was great. Seen Dr. Sleep at Gerald's Game.
Did you see Hush?
I did not see Hush. And what's his first one?
Absentia.
Haven't seen either of them.
You've seen Absentia, right, Don?
Yes, I've seen Absentia.
What do you think of Mike Flanagan?
I like his stuff. I did see Gerald's Game.
That's a hard story to adapt to film because
it was a really he did a fantastic job. It could have ended up as meh as Cujo, but he did a fantastic job of adapting it to film.
Yeah, because it's all like in the character's head, basically, that story.
Yes. Yeah, I like his stuff. I love Dr. Sleep. I loved watching Dr. Sleep. I went into it and I was gonna like it, and then I'm like, whoa, it's already done. It just engaged me so well. I loved it. I haven't seen there's a bunch I haven't seen of his, but I've liked everything that I have seen of his. Sorry, it's writer, not director.
Yeah, Ouija Origins. He actually made a film that was a sequel. Well, it was a prequel that was better than the original, and that film I think I would have enjoyed even more if it wasn't for the last 3 minutes where they almost felt. Even though I got to see Lin Shaye because I love Lin Shaye in anything.
Yeah, me too, dude. Me too.
I'll watch her in anything. The ending just felt like a little bit of a tack on. Like the producer said, "Well, now you gotta bring some connection to the original film. Never mind the title. So put this scene in here." That's about the only part of that entire movie I really didn't care for. He got me to jump. He actually scared me in a scene in that movie, and it wasn't a jump scare, but it was the way he cut it. And I literally at the theater said, "Damn it, Mike, you got me." Okay. I think, Andrew, you know what scene I'm talking about. It's a scene where there's just a normal conversation thing going on, and then we cut to a scene to the little girl on the couch.
Yes, Mark, I've been trying not to fucking think about that. Thanks.
Sorry.
As soon as we started down the Origin of Evil path, I'm like, okay, next.
Sorry.
No, I saw that, and I didn't see it in theaters because that was before I started going to a lot of horror again. So I saw that. I bought a 2-pack of both Ouija movies at the dollar store and got it home and played that. And I watched the first one during the day and the second one at night and regretted that. And then when I had to walk upstairs, that was exactly what I saw in my head.
Oof. Yeah.
And you're right. It's not a jump scare. It's just, how it's cut is so unnerving.
It's wonderfully cut. I mean, it just, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Don't keep talking about it.
Sorry. I mean, the only other thing that stuck with me besides that is a film that many people crap on, and I don't know why. I love it. It's bizarre, I know. But in Annihilation, the freaking bear.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
People don't like Annihilation. Annihilation is amazing.
I've seen a lot of people who just say, "Oh, it's boring. Oh, this, that."
They just don't like the women.
I love Annihilation,
and it's got the women. That's why they don't like Birds of Prey either.
Oh, Birds of Prey was so much fun.
Birds of Prey was a lot of fun.
Dude, I love that. I bought it immediately.
We need a Huntress movie. I
She
totally
was-
want a Huntress movie,
Everybody was great. I'm like, dude, could they just get Rosie Perez in everything from now on?
right?
Yep.
God, she was great. I just, my only gripe about Birds of Prey is I wished it would have been a movie my kid could watch because she
Mhm.
so wanted to see it because of those
Oh,
posters, and she's, knows Harley Quinn from Superhero Girls. It's like, why can't I see it? I'm like, one day you can.
well, I think we're going to wrap it up for the night, folks. I want to thank the two guests we actually had, Daniel and Angelique. I want to thank Dawn and Andrew. Thank you, you two. You guys have become very much regulars in the spoiler room. Welcome, regulars. And it means a lot to me that not only you, but the rest of our crew keep wanting to come back and do this little sliver of the internet podcast where we talk films. You guys are so knowledgeable, and it means so much to me for being a guy in the middle of Wisconsin, and the fact we've just finished year 7. Yeah, that I didn't even expect we'd get past year 1. So, and so we got a lot of great things to come, apparently, including next year's special already. So, thank you for all the wonderful questions, Dawn and Andrew. And yes, even though this is a live show and this is something a little different, I'm still giving a license to shill to Andrew and Dawn. So, Andrew, you're up first, sir. The floor is yours. You have the license to shill.
Oh, okay, thanks. Well, it was an honor to be part of this. I did not want to miss it. I'm glad the show ran long, so I could pop in here because I've not been on a spoiler room episode in a while. But it's been awesome. And man, doing the shows with you and Dawn is always look forward to. It's totally cool. So this worked out great. I would say, if anybody wants to watch my movie Bad Girl Dracula, can be found on Amazon Prime currently. And you never know how long they're going to keep stuff like Bad Girl Dracula, especially with all the heaps of bad reviews they try to throw on there. There's a lot of good ones. There's a couple assholes. You know who you are.
Yes, check out all his stuff. His stuff is great. If you crap on it, well, then you just don't get it and understand it and probably shouldn't have watched it in the first place.
That's right. And I might add, choke on diarrhea in hell.
There you go. You belong in the 9th level of hell.
That's right, where all the rivers of diarrhea are that you will then drown in.
There you go. Over and over again.
That's right.
Hashtag support indie cinema. Speaking of, Dawn, go ahead, license to shill. I know what you're going to shill.
Of course I am. So always a pleasure to be on with you two gentlemen. I look forward to these quite a bit. Yes, we are still planning to do it because by October we should still be able to do this. The Northeast Wisconsin New Horror Film Fest in beautiful Oshkosh, Wisconsin, at the historic Time Community Theater, a volunteer-run theater. Support your local indie filmmaker. Submit your films if you're filmmakers, please. Yeah.
There you go. New Horror Fest. Look forward to that every year as well. So, yes, that puts a kibosh on our 7th anniversary special. We are going to play one more song. My guests are welcome to stay and listen to it if they want, or they can drop off if they want. But it's going to be called Round One. It's from Mark Woolridge, and this may sound familiar to many because this was a part of this song. Very small part of the song was used as the original intro to the spoiler room, but I'm going to play the whole track. It's about 5 minutes long. I want to thank my guests as always. Thank you for great, wonderful 7 years, and here's to hopefully many more.